Welcome to Epic African Myths, where legends breathe, kingdoms rise, and the voices of our ancestors echo through time. Tonight, we journey into the heart of Africa's greatest tales. Dawn pries open the doors of the royal stables. Dust floats like tiny constellations in shafts of light that stripe the straw. Yennenga sits astride her stallion before the world has fully woken, golden armor catching first light, jaw set, eyes steady. Grooms keep their distance, even the horses seem to sense the charge in the air. She rolls her shoulders, feels the weight of metal and expectation, and breathes. This isn't costume, it's commitment. Somewhere beyond the capital walls lie enemies, borders, and choices she hasn't yet been allowed to make. She presses her palm to the horse's neck. "We ride at the sun," she says, half prayer, half promise. Hooves clink, leather creaks. In the quiet, destiny feels close enough to touch. The plains are a river of grass and wind. Yennenga leans forward, spear tucked along her thigh, stallion surging as if the earth itself were tilted downhill. Dust lifts and streams behind her like a banner. Young warriors chase, teeth bared in effort, but she is already a length ahead, then two. A target post flashes by. Her spear snaps from her grip, strikes clean, shivers, and sticks. She wheels back at a gallop, vaults low to reclaim it without breaking stride. A captain shouts, "Again!" She grins and digs in. Sweat runs, the horizon tilts. In this speed, in this skill, she feels truest. No titles, no walls, only the narrow line between balance and fall. She rides it perfectly. In the market streets, color spills from every stall, cloth, copper, gourds, baskets. Children dart like sparrows. Yennenga guides her horse through the crowd. Helm off now, braids caught by the sun. Cheers rise, not rehearsed, not forced, just a wave of pride that rolls ahead of her and closes behind. "Blessings, princess," a baker calls, flour dusting his hands. An old woman reaches up to touch the stallion's muzzle and whispers a prayer. Yennenga does not wave like distant royalty. She answers names, recognizes faces, asks after harvests. Her armor glints, but it's the steadiness in her gaze that wins them. In their eyes she sees not awe but trust. It is a heavy, warm thing in the chest, heavier than gold, easier to carry than fear. The throne room smells of oil and carved wood. Advisors gather like storm clouds, voices measuring out worry in careful tones. The king of the Gomba sits tall, eyes tired beneath the heavy crown. Yennenga stands before him, shoulders back, chin level. "You ride too far," an advisor says. "You unsettle the order," another adds. The king's voice cuts through. "Daughter, I forged you strong, but strength must serve its place." She matches his calm. If strength is caged, it rusts. Silence tightens. The king looks at her as if seeing both a child and a comet he cannot command. "There will be suitors," he says, "there will be treaties." She answers, soft but unbending, "There will be me." The court inhales. The decision hangs unspoken and heavy. At dusk, the balcony opens to a wide, breathing savanna. The city hums behind her. Beyond the walls, grasses comb themselves in the wind like a single living creature. Yennenga presses her hands to the stone rail. Pride keeps her spine straight. Sadness weighs her ribs. She thinks of girls taught to fold their voices, of sons taught to carry them. She thinks of battles she's won on the field and those she's losing in these rooms. The sky purples, somewhere drums begin. If I stay, she whispers, I become a statue of duty. A hawk cuts across the last slice of sun. She follows its flight until the light slips. The choice, already forming, clicks into place like a blade in its haft. Night wears a thin moon like a secret. Yennenga moves through corridors with the grace of a remembered dance. One guard distracted, another bribed, the third simply absent because she has learned people's habits better than they know themselves. In the stables, her stallion stamps once, then stills at her voice. No trumpet will mark this departure, only breath, leather, and quiet resolve. Gates whisper open. She is a shadow on the road, a flicker on the fields, then gone entirely, swallowed by brush and night. Behind her, the city sleeps on, unaware that one of its pillars has slipped free. Ahead, the land spreads like an unwritten page. She kicks, and the story begins to write itself at a gallop. Days shear away, cloak frays, armor dulls to a soft, stubborn gleam. Hunger sharpens her patience, thirst teaches her the language of riverbeds. She learns which grasses hold water, how to listen for the low talk of buffalo before they crest a ridge. The horse grazes close, a constant heartbeat beside her. Nights are colder here, stars nearer, silences longer. Her body complains, but her will is loud and clear. We keep moving, she tells the horse, and the words steady her. When rain needles down, she laughs at the sky, small and alive and entirely her own. She has left a palace. She has found herself. The map she trusts now is muscle, memory, and horizon. A clearing opens like a held breath. On the far edge, a hunter steps from the brush, bow easy in his hand, posture loose but ready. He is not palace-born. The forest has whittled him into something efficient, kind-eyed and self-contained. Yennenga lifts a palm, not to command, but to balance the moment. They study each other's silhouettes, reading the same lines, strength without threat, purpose without swagger. I am Yennenga, she says, giving the truth without explanation. He nods. Riale. His gaze flicks to the horse, back to her. You are far from home, she answers, or closer than I've been. The air shifts, tension untwists, and the quiet between them becomes permission rather than warning. Firelight leans into their faces, turning the night into a small, warm room. They trade the first careful pieces of themselves. How Rial learned the forest's moods by following his father's boot prints until the day there were none. How Yennenga learned command by being the only girl allowed inside a drill line and the first to outpace it. He roasts tubers, shows her which leaves make a clean, sharp tea. She cleans a spear nick while recounting a battle where a single feint saved 50 men. Laughter arrives without ceremony. Your court must be loud, he says. Loud and certain, she answers, when certainty is affordable. The horse snorts as if agreeing. Sparks lift, the trees lean in. The distance between hunter and princess narrows to a shared flame. Morning makes a training ground of the forest. Riale lunges. Yennenga pivots, taps his wrist with the spear butt. Point made, no harm taken. He grins, circles, tries again. They move until sweat shines and breath comes in short, pleased bursts. He is quick, she is precise. They switch, she with the bow, he correcting her elbow by the gentlest touch. Let the shoulder drop. The arrow flies clean. She laughs, surprised and proud. Later, they race through trails the deer favor, leaping roots, ducking branches, the horse snorting delighted thunder beside them. The play teaches as thoroughly as any drill, timing, trust, the unspoken grammar of two people who want the other to win. Evening gathers in long gold ribbons. They walk the tall grass where crickets braid their music into the breeze. Words come easily now, or not at all. Neither is a problem. When their hands brush, neither corrects the accident. It simply becomes what their hands do. What would you be without a crown? Rial asks. She considers. Exactly this, she says, but with fewer people telling me I cannot. He smiles like someone who already knew the answer. The sun lowers. The horse noses her shoulder. She rests her cheek to its jaw. It is not sudden, and it is not dramatic. It is certain, the way evening is certain after day. The baobab stands like a memory older than language. Beneath its wide-armed shade, women bring water, cloth, songs that hold pain without breaking. Riale kneels, his hand a steady anchor on Yennenga's shoulder. The work is long and honest. When a child's first cry lifts, birds startle from nearby branches as if the world had been struck like a drum. She gathers the boy against her chest, skin to skin, fierce and tender at once. Villagers press closer, reverence on their faces, offerings in their hands, milk, gourds, amulets woven from grass. Yennenga names not with flourish, but with clarity, a name that means speed, future, and the road ahead. Riala weeps without shame. The baobab keeps the secret of their joy and gives them back their breath. Close now. The child, dark eyes blinking at a world too bright and interesting to ignore. His fist opens and closes on nothing, practicing the art of holding what will one day be heavy. Yennenga studies the smallness of him and sees not weakness, but the shape of what could carry a people forward. Light gathers on his face as if summoned. You will not inherit a cage, she promises, voice low. Rial traces the curve of the tiny ear and murmurs a hunter's blessing, to be swift when needed and still when necessary. Around them, the village hums, unaware that history has paused to take a good look at itself and smile. From the ridge, the savannah opens in endless, confident strokes, rivers glinting, grasses writing soft lines, the wind erases and writes again. Yennenga stands with Riale and their child, the three of them a small punctuation mark against an enormous sentence. She can almost see it now, settlements linked like beads, markets braided with safety instead of fear, riders carrying news rather than warnings, a kingdom not held by one iron fist but bound by shared purpose and swift defense. From this something vast, she says. Riale nods, content with the largeness and the immediacy. Today's firewood, tonight's watch, tomorrow's training. The child squirms, impatient for the future. Somewhere, messengers will one day call his name and mean an entire people when they say it. Years later, when the sun leans low and the dust glows like embers, travelers will point to the horizon where a statue stands, horse rearing, spear lifted, a woman's gaze fixed on the long road she chose. Children will learn to shape her name with pride. Soldiers will measure their courage against stories of her rides. Mothers will teach their daughters the difficult art of choosing. The wind will say Yennenga in the tall grass again and again until it sounds like the oldest word for freedom. The land behind her stretches, promising more. The sky ahead of her opens, promising everything else. She does not vanish into legend. She rides forward into it, and the legend keeps pace. You have been listening to Epic African Myths, where history and legend entwine. If this story moved you, like, share, and subscribe to keep the fire of our ancestors burning bright. Until the next tale, walk with wisdom and carry our stories forward.